Alvin,
Yes.
how are you? Dan here.
Hey, Dan, I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Thanks so much for taking my call today. As you know, I emailed you, and I had one of the subscribers had listened to our call, a previous call where we were talking about the Philippines. The subscriber said he didn't really fully understand what it felt like in America to be treated that way, and it touched him, and I'd been feeling that way too, and I thought of you, and you were kind enough to take my call, and thank you so much, Calvin. And this to me is an opportunity to listen. Mostly, I mean, I may have a question or two along the way, but I think as an American right now, it's a good time for us to listen about the culture we've created, where a percentage of our culture, of our black culture, right now has the opportunity to talk about something that we don't fully understand or appreciate. And I think it's a good time to listen so we can understand how to become better as a country. So I appreciate your taking the time to talk to us and teach us what it's like being in America as a black man growing up when you did, and how things have changed, and what your thoughts are, Calvin.
Oh, okay, Dan. Yeah, and thanks for calling. I appreciate it. One thing that really disappoints me, is I'm 57 years old and I'm still having to discuss this race issue. I'm really disappointed, in America in that aspect, in this age of information,
Yeah.
that something so ignorant could still prevail.
Right.
I mean, it was a time when people believed that the world was flat. Of course, the information debunked that, and then there's a time when people believed that the earth was the center of the universe and the sun and all the planets revolving around the earth. And, again, information debunked that.
Yeah.
But this race thing has really hung around,
Yeah.
and I don't understand it. But it's real frustrating, and I think because of the viciousness, the brutality of the George Floyd killing, where everybody was able to witness that, I think, made a lot of people come to terms with this racial divide. See, my wife is Filipina, so, in her generation, they don't really deal with racism like we deal with it over there. See, they don't have to really deal with it. You understand? America left in 1946, on the surface. But I mean, they have their own land, they have their own language. Most Filipinos, they're the same color. They don't really experience the type of racism. So it's hard can you imagine? It was really hard for her to grip that when she went to America.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And
Yeah.
she's been there for 6 years, and she still can't believe it.
Yeah.
Because over here, see, they're more curious about black people. Whatever they think about black people here, they don't hate us. See,
Right.
they don't hate us. And see, that's enough for me, just to come someplace where I'm not hated.
Yeah.
There's all the myths and, like I said, innuendos and lies and stuff about black people that they probably, abandon too, but they don't hate me. And man, that's a great feeling.
Yeah.
They actually, I've been around the world several times, in the Navy, and I can tell you that this is one of the few places where the people actually judge you by your character. They're not looking at me. They want to know who I am. They're not looking at my skin. Yeah, they might be curious, and, they don't see me, where I am. They really don't see me in black people, but that doesn't turn them off. They're more, what's your character? See, that's the way that, it's refreshing to me. And that's why I've been over here for so long. That's why I have no desire to go back over there.
Yeah.
With all that entitlement and all that,
You show up.
I'm afraid, hell, I'm afraid that if I go back, I'm going to die. That's why I stay here. One way or the other. The police are going to kill me. Some cracked out fiend is going to kill me.
Yeah.
Because I'm stuck in the middle, man. I've been stuck in the middle my whole life, Dan. So I stay here. It's peaceful. You know, nobody bothers me here. You know, people have better things to do here.
You're a free man.
To follow me around in the store.
You're a free man here.
Hmm?
You're a free man here.
Oh yeah, I'm free here.
You're a free man.
I've never been free. I've never been free. It's like the weight of the world was lifted on my shoulders, you know, when I came over here, you know. Because, you know, we talk that talk in America that, you know, all men are created equal. Yeah, that's true, but we're not born equal. Okay?
Yeah.
So all of that, yeah, we're created equal. Yeah, that might be true, but we're not born equal.
Yeah.
You know, we're not born equal. Let me give you an example real quick. And I'm going to tell you something. See, I'm an insurance agent. I mean, I've never been in trouble with the law. I don't have a police record.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
December the 3rd, 2004 was one of the happiest days of my life. I just closed on my first house. I mean, it was like a miracle because I just didn't see it. It wasn't in my future. Not only did I close on the house, but it was a house that we wanted. December the 3rd, 2004.
Yeah.
We attended the closing on our first house. I mean, it was the happiest day of my life because I never saw it coming. It was just something that really, it was a dream come true for me, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
We were very, very happy, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
The very next day turned into one of the worst days of my life, okay? Our home, the home we were renting, was invaded by the SWAT team, okay? With one of these no-knock warrants. Now, I'm not talking about the DEA. I'm talking about the actual SWAT team with the military gear, the tank, blast grenades, the AR-15s, the whole 9 yards.
What the hell?
You know, we just finished eating dinner. Okay, I'm in my room, so our bedroom was in the rear. And I'm back after dinner, like I said, I'm just relaxing, I'm reading, and next thing I heard something go boom. And I saw so pop, pop, pop. And my daughter, she's 10 at the time, she's running down the house. She said, "Daddy, it's the Army." I said, "The Army?" And I looked out my door, and here comes the SWAT team. It's about 6 of them. I mean, it's just like in the movies.
Wow.
Because it's like 8 o'clock on a winter night. You can't see anything but their eyes. You see that red dot. It's right on my head. You know,
right. Yeah,
I relive it every time I tell the story.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? And they came in and just terrorized my family. Like, had us all up, you know, had machine guns at our heads, you know, the whole 9 yards. They swept through. Then the DEA comes through and just tears our house up. Okay. December 3rd, I'm happy. December 4th, the worst day of my life. All because they had the wrong house. Okay? Now, it was so bad then that the informant who was working with the drug people, he saw it on the news and he came forward because he wanted to help our case.
Uh-huh.
Don't you know we never received an apology or anything?
Wow.
Matter of fact, it's the first time I ever heard, you know, because we fought the city for 2 years. You know, we were trying to file a civil lawsuit. And, of course, they won because of qualified immunity. First time I ever heard that expression. I didn't, you know, that, you know, the police aren't responsible for mistakes like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But we never received an apology. But when we initially filed the complaint, you have to go to the internal affairs. So I'm sitting there, I'm talking to the detective, and this is what the detective tells me. He looks me right in my face. He said, "Mr. Rhodes, who lived on Hurstbourne Lane, which is a nice area in Louisville, Kentucky." He said, "This would have never happened to you." He said they would have double-checked and triple-checked to make sure they had the right house before they did that to you. Yeah. Okay? But because I was a black man, okay, that's the one thing about another thing about white privilege. See, black people, we carry around a presumption of guilt with us. You know, we're guilty until proven innocent. Yeah. You know, these people had a search warrant. Everything in the search warrant was wrong. It described a house down the street from us. The only thing that the detective was in such of a hurry to bust these people, and they were bad people, that he wrote the wrong address down. So everything in that search warrant, and it was a no-knock warrant. I mean, they wasn't going to announce themselves. They just blasted through. Luckily, I'm not a gun. I don't have a gun. I've never owned a gun because I wouldn't be here now. I would have thought, see, right now in Louisville, Kentucky, there's a case going on now. Young lady, she was an EMT frontliner, was killed by the police. They execute a no-knock warrant, and they shoot her 8 times.
Jesus.
And kill her. Her name is Breonna Taylor. You can research it. They give her as far as one of the police now.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason why they didn't kill us, because I didn't have a gun. See,
yeah.
And when I'm talking to you, if I say white man, what I mean when I say white man, I don't mean my co-workers. I don't mean my next door neighbor or the guy at church. I'm talking about the white men who write these laws, who enforce these laws, and who push the legislature that keeps racism at the forefront.
Yeah.
I say the white man, that's who I'm talking about.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I'm tired of turning on my TV and watching one black man after another's life taken, not in a court of law, not for a reason, but to me it often just appears like an ego thing, or there's flavors of that. It just happens every few months, and I'm just tired of it. I just want it to end, and it's been that way for me for years, and I feel frustrated, and I'm just sad for today, but I hope we can finally figure this out somehow. So please go on.
Well, when you see things like that, Dan, it's a reflection of our education. See, if you're taught that a certain human being, that his life doesn't matter, that he's nothing, he's never contributed anything, and you're told this over and over, not just if you're white, but if you're black, you're told that over and over. So when you see a black man, you don't see a man. You see a threat.
Yeah.
And I think this is where this is coming from, because we see it all the time. And, of course, the media plays a part in it, too. They play both sides of the fence. It's white people that get killed by the police, too, okay? But that's not really going to be a story, okay?
True, yeah.
But they'll make this a story. But at the same time, okay, back in the 80s, and you, like I said, you're my age, you remember this, in the crack epidemic.
Yeah.
When Ronald Reagan, he intensified this war on drugs. And I mean, when you say the word crack, even today, 40 years later, what comes up in your mind? It's a black man that comes up in your mind. Even though white people smoke more crack and sell more crack than black people. Okay, the media did that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to 2020 or 2019, we have this opioid epidemic, and of course, a lot of white people are dying from these opioids. Okay, so instead of criminalizing those people, they're being seen as victims, because it's the sons and daughters of these rich and powerful people.
Yeah.
See, so it goes into our education. We're indoctrinated into this stuff. Imagine, I'm 57. When I was going to school, when I'm most vulnerable, I'm never being taught about black people and our contributions to the world, even though they're immense. We've done just as much and contributed just as much to the world as any other race, but I'm never taught about that. The only time I'm really taught about anything is, slavery.
Right,
That's where my history starts in America. And so when you're indoctrinated with that kind of stuff, and George Washington, never told a lie, and, Abraham Lincoln was, so honest, he walked a mile to return a penny to a lady. These are stories that are still being told in our schools today.
Yeah.
See? And white supremacy, white people can be victims of white supremacy. See, I was telling a friend of mine, I said, white supremacy is a form of child abuse. To tell somebody's child, to tell your child that because of the color of your skin, it makes you better, makes you more entitled than someone else. That's a form of abuse. Because as he grows up, he's going to be confused. He's going to come to terms. He's going to have an existential crisis when that one rolls around. But
right.
you know, let me just give you a little history, because I'm not a. I guess I would consider myself an activist, because, you know, being a black man, you gotta be an activist. I mean, everywhere I go, I carry the weight of my race on my shoulders. You know, even over here in the Philippines, see, they're watching me. So, you know, versus what they've learned in the media about black people. You know, so even over here, I'm carrying the weight of my race on my shoulders. And see, that's a privilege that white people don't have to have. You know, and I know that word privilege, it's a broad term, you know, and people get upset when you talk about white privilege, but it's true. You know, there are privileges to being white.
Yeah.
But because that term is so broad, people get upset, you know, especially, you know, if you run into a white male that's not rich, you know, he thinks privilege means like the Queen of England or something like that. No. Let me give you an example of privilege. Okay, black men in America were 4 times as likely to be pulled over by the police on suspicion of having contraband, like drugs, guns, etc. Okay?
Yeah.
4 times more likely. Okay, now, but here's the flip side of it. And this is coming from the FBI. This is not from me. White men are 4 times as likely to have in their possession contraband if and when they're pulled over.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Let me say one thing. Does this make sense? You have a war on drugs, which is really a war on black people. Okay, you say, okay, we're going to have a war on drugs. Then you turn around and execute the war against a community that's actually using drugs less.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
This is what white privilege is, and people don't understand that. I mean, I grew up in a segregated. I was born in 1963. Okay, that was Jim Crow.
Yeah.
My mother and father, you know, they never saw a day where they were considered equal. You know, my father fought in the Korean War, but hell, when he came back, he had to go to the government projects because black people then were not eligible for the GI loan.
Wow.
That new thing that had come out.
Wow.
See?
I had no idea.
But white soldiers were.
Yeah.
And they were able to build homes. But my father had to go right back, you know, after, you know, sacrificing and putting his life on the line. He had to go right back to the project.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wow.
So, but anyway, I grew up in a segregated time. Now, it was only until I was 10 years old, so I was really protected. But my mother and father were open-minded. My father was a preacher. You know, of course, my mother was a housewife, but they were open-minded. So they always taught us that we were equal to anybody. You know, we weren't inferior to anybody. You know, you could be whatever you wanted to be. You know, dream big. You know, blah, blah, blah. The same thing that most parents tell their children. Okay, you understand? So we were protected. But when I was 10 years old, we moved into the rural part of the town where, you know, whites and blacks went to school together. Now, this is a year before forced busing. I was in the 6th grade. And this is the first time I ever had been around white people, and I never even went to school with them. But it was no difference to me because I didn't know it was supposed to be a difference. Only until the next year.
What age were you then? What age were you then?
I was 10.
Okay.
You know, turning 11.
Okay.
Because we were never taught anything different. You know, we were protected. Just be, you know, when we were little, as a child, you know, you keep your mouth shut. You know, you're a child. You know, when grown folks around, you know, you shut up.
Yeah.
So we were protected. You know, we just played, you know, in the neighborhoods. And as a matter of fact, before we moved to the county, we had good relations with the police because back in those days, they had patrolmen, beat cops. And we had a white beat cop in our neighborhood. His name was Frank. I mean, this is the nicest guy you ever see. I mean, this is introduction to the police. He was there when we went to school. He was there when we went home. He'd go home maybe like 6 or 7 in the evening. Then he'd come back the next morning. But he wasn't beating anybody up. He wasn't shooting anybody or anything like that. He was really part of the community.
Yeah.
Okay, but when we moved out there, I'm 11 years old. I started going to school with white kids, and I never even knew the difference, really. It was only the next year, forced busing. In 1975, I was 12 years old. I was in 7th grade. That I started to understand about race. Because every morning when we went to school, we would have to fight the Ku Klux Klan just to get inside the school. Every single morning. I mean, they would bust out how many bus windows? We rode a new bus every day for the first 3 months of school. And this is not an exaggeration.
Wow.
Because they tore up every bus that poured into the parking lot. And you're scared to death.
Yeah.
You got these little kids with hoods on, their parents with hoods on, they're burning crosses, throwing bricks. This is when you go to school, then when you get out.
Wow.
So that's when I really started really having, questions about race. And, as you get older, you start reading and you start paying more attention, to the world. And so I made it up in my mind right then and there, I wasn't going to deal with it. At some point in my life, I wasn't running, but I was going to get away from that because, either get away or I'm the type of person, I'm not going to put up with it, I'm going to strike back.
Yeah.
So I made up my mind a long time ago I wasn't going to deal with it. But, if you're going to live in America, it's real subtle. And you have to deal with it, the subtlety of the racism. See, I'll tell you this: what hurts more than those bullets and the police brutality, it's the silence and denial of white people that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That hurts more, because you're sitting there, you're screaming at the top of your lungs, and they're looking at you like, it's right there in their face, but they can't see a dang thing, and that's the frustrating part about it.
Yeah.
So, even in when I graduated from high school and I joined the United States Navy, it's just a microcosm of American society. All the men at the top were white.
Yeah.
I remember meeting one black pilot. I was on the USS John F. Kennedy. I met one black pilot. As a matter of fact, he had got shot down over Beirut. Can't think of this guy's name, Robert something. And Jesse Jackson went over and negotiated his return. But anyway, he's the only black officer that I had ever seen my whole time in the Navy.
Wow.
Everybody at the top was white. So that's the sort of world that you grow up in.
Yeah.
And then they had the movie Roots. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I saw that movie.
Okay. And see, a lot of the history, especially the relationships between blacks and whites in America, it's been whitewashed. They're not telling the whole truth. I mean, as mad as Roots made a lot of black people, as I gotten older and I looked at it again, I was like, man, this is ridiculous. This isn't what slavery was for real. I mean, you had people there with 3-piece suits on and top hats. They were actually sleeping on mattresses and beds and different things like that. That's a bunch of bull.
Yeah.
Because I read Frederick Douglass has a book. His autobiography of Frederick Douglass. He gives a real eyewitness account of slavery. He said, you either you didn't have a shirt and pants. It was your choice. You either had a shirt or a pants. You couldn't have both of them.
Wow.
And he said he slept on the ground, basically. They damn near froze in the winter, he said.
Wow.
Damn near starved and froze. Okay? And, I mean, it's just a riveting account of his life. And, of course, he walked from Mississippi to Philadelphia, imagine that, for his freedom.
Wow.
That's a long way, if you think about it. But he gave a real eyewitness account, you know, and of course, I'm a history. I love history. You know, it's one thing I know about racists. Facts don't mean anything to racists. You know.
Yeah.
They just, you know, facts don't mean anything. You know, and it would take me forever, Dan, to try to untangle all the myths and lies and innuendos concerning black people. Okay, but, you know, George Washington Carver, there's a guy who revolutionized the South, the crop industry in the South. When he was little, he was traded for a horse. Did you know that?
No.
He was traded for a horse because, see, slavery in America was chattel slavery, meaning we were property. We were not, in the Constitution, you know, because our forefathers saw that it was a hypocrisy to have slaves and then to write the Constitution, you know, we the people, you know, we created equal, blah, blah, blah. So they labeled us 3/5 of a human being.
Yeah, yeah.
The Constitution,
I knew that.
just so that so we didn't have to, we couldn't enjoy in all the, you know, the fruits of our labor.
No, it was all
just little things like that.
So when you were growing up, did you? I've seen a lot of the stuff online from black fathers and sons talking about when they hit a certain age, their parents have to tell them that when there's a policeman around, you have to, you know, like when you leave a store, you always have to have a receipt in your pocket, and it's yes sir, no sir, and all this sort of thing. They sort of train you how to not get shot by the police just when you're out walking around or whatever. And some of those stories online, I think, are just amazing. It really eye-opening.
Well, see, those young men are riding on our shoulders, and we're riding on the shoulders of people who came before us because we never got the talk. We got the abuse. We got the beatings. You know, see, a lot of it today is called on cell phones and cameras.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we had some bad, it was some bad police back in my day.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, you know, when people say, you know, and my whole, like I said, my introduction to police was a good one, but it turns out really quick. And even to this day, I don't think that you should fear the police, but I fear the police. I mean, when the police, if they pull up beside me, if they pull up behind me, I'm telling you, I'm 57 years old, you know, been in the service, you know, I'm supposed to be a manly man.
Yeah.
I'm shaking in my boots, you know, and I just don't think that's a healthy relationship. And, you know,
no.
And they say, you know, they talk about the good cops. Well, you know, the good cops need to hold the bad cops accountable. And just to know, see, like I said, racism stays alive because of ignorance. See, all you have to do is research the history of the police department in America. And you'll see the relationship with black people.
Yeah, yeah.
From the very moment it was created, their job was to police us.
Yeah.
Runaway slaves. To go out, you know, when slavery was over, and, you know, because, you know, remember, slaves were property. So when they abolished slavery, there was no more, you know, the southern slave masters, they looked at themselves as victims. But there was nothing for the black people to go to.
Yeah.
So what they would do, they created black codes. And a black man could do something stupid. He could jaywalk across the street, and the police would lock him up, and then, of course, put a big bond on him, and then one of the slave masters would come pay his bond, and then he'd be right back on the plantation where he left.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And he'd work there for the rest of his life. See, so it all started there.
Those are the Jim Crow laws?
No, that was before Jim Crow.
Huh.
You know, that was during the Reconstruction, you know.
Uh-huh.
That was right after slavery. And then, see, for a few years, blacks had some equality during the Reconstruction era. You know, they were people who was actually generally concerned about ex-slaves and helping them to, you know, to assimilate into a society. So there was a lot of black, you know, wealthy people. There was politicians. But then Jim Crow comes in, you know, and wipes all that out. And for the next 100 years, you're talking about terrorism. See, that's a part of we're not taught that in school. And see, that's what I'm saying. This was the law.
Exactly.
It's not something that just racist people decided, hey, I don't like black people. It was the United States. They had the full force of the United States government behind them.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's as much it's even more systemic than that, than just government. It's within families themselves. Like when I grew up, my father was I grew up in California, and my father was and he taught us right, like to treat everyone equal, and he always spoke about that. But he was born and grew up in Chicago, and he moved. He was Navy also, and he moved to California to be in Oakland. And I remember the first time that I went back. I was probably 8 years old, and I was under the table playing Hot Wheels. I don't remember. You remember those cars? They were like little cars, shiny little cars you'd play with. And my father, who I'd never heard him make a racist statement in his life, and he taught me not, to be that way. He was with his brothers playing cards, and after a few drinks, I noticed my uncle started using all this language about black people and Mexicans and Jews, all this kind of thing, and I was blown away that my uncles were talking this way. And after my dad got 4 or 5 drinks in him, he started talking that way. And I was blown away. I thought that it was he taught me right, but here he was with his family. Who he didn't live around, hadn't lived around in 15 years maybe, and suddenly he's taken on all of this history that he thought he'd left behind. So it's more than just government. It's built into our society. And
that's what I was saying. And we're indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Okay. You're indoctrinated. Okay. I don't care how much my mother and father taught me about everybody being equal, and your mother and father taught you about being equal. Guess what? The schools have us for 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then you're getting the news and everything. Images are powerful. Images are powerful. So, I mean, and it's really loud outside your house.
Yeah.
Whatever messages your mother and father are giving you, they're getting drowned out in society.
Of course.
I live it every single day.
Yeah.
Except when I'm here. See, I'm not seeing as a threat over here. See, it's none of my business what people think. If you think that your skin color makes you better and more entitled than me, that's your business. But when what you think starts interfering with my life and the life of my children and my family, then we got a problem.
Yeah,
see,
course, yeah.
Racism is not something black people have to fix. It's something white people have to fix. They created it.
Yeah.
We didn't create it.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
In 2020, it's still going on, and it's frustrating,
Yeah.
It's frustrating because we're screaming at the top of our lungs. It's just, it's just a silent thing that I deal with when I'm at home.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons I moved out of the United States, to escape all that hate and violence.
Yeah.
Because it's just uncalled for. I mean, it's just so frustrating. You said you're tired of it. Yeah, I can imagine. I've been living it, Dan, for 57 years. I thought, because I'm a positive thinker, I thought that my kids, believe it or not, 20, 25 years ago, I thought, surely when I have children, they're not going to have to deal with what I'm going to have to deal with. America's going to step up and it's going to, overcome this. No.
No, yeah.
Now my grandkids, I'm certain that my grandkids are going to have to deal with this. And it's just, it's troubling. It's troubling to me. And it's something that white people have to fix. It's not, we've done all we can do. You know, you know, we've kneeled in, we sat in, we died, we marched, we everything, we rioted, it's nothing that we can do is going to change it.
Yeah.
See, there's nothing wrong with fairness. I fought for the country. Yeah. And I'll be damned, I don't get a pass.
No,
I don't get a pass. If I don't have my suit and tie, I'm just another black crack dealer in a nice car driving down the street. And after 57 years, man, that George Floyd, man, how many more George Floyd? It's going to happen again because the laws are still on the books. Look at that qualified immunity. Look at the mass incarceration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, they executed a war on drugs on the black community, yet white people use more cocaine than blacks.
Yeah, I mean,
use more heroin than black people.
I mean, in high school, it wasn't unusual at all for us to have drugs in the car, and if we got pulled over, it was for speeding or whatever, and they were never pulling guns on us or searching the car or any of that. It's write a speeding ticket and off you go. I
can't even, I've got a nice BMW, I've got a nice convertible, man. Don't you know? Believe it or not, I'm in the bed by 9 o'clock. I'm scared to death to drive at night.
Yeah.
Even to this day. I'm scared of the police. Only time I get some peace is when I come over here. I'm not afraid of the police over here because these police here, they're not militarized like they are in America. Over here, these people are just, they're police, people who just so happen to be police. They don't even look at me twice. They don't follow me around when I go into the store. They're not afraid of me. They're certainly not going to shoot me in my back. 98% of black men that you see are just law-abiding, tax-paying citizens.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And Dan, I'm going to tell you the honest truth. 100% of the men that I deal with, not 95, not 96, 100% of the black men that I deal with on a daily basis, they take care of their kids. They're gainfully employed, and they don't have police records. Okay? I'm telling you that to let your subscribers know. When you see a black man, you ain't got no reason to be afraid.
Yeah, you can.
And totally... my mother told us, she said, it's better to deal with a racist who shows his true colors than somebody that's going to smile in your face and stab you in the back. See, like a lot of the liberals in America. See, those are the ones I really can't deal with. Trump is easy. I can deal with Trump because I know where he's coming from. I can deal with his supporters because I'm not guessing. I can avoid them. If racism was a pandemic, hell, I can do social distancing. That's what I can do. I can do social distancing from them. I can, really.
Yeah.
I know where to go and where not to go. It's just, it's funny in 2020 that we're still dealing with that, Dan. And I have to take my hat off to you for even trying to, address this subject. Man, it's just, I don't know, it just does something to Americans. It's right there in our face, but we don't see a dang thing.
What I love most about what you shared here today, Calvin, is you told the truth about everything, really. But one thing that really is true that I don't know that many white people like myself really have come to terms with is that it's time for white people to do something about this. It's not a black issue, and that rings true for me.
Well, it is, Dan. We've done everything we can. We've compromised, we've homogenized, we've done everything that, we fought in every war.
Yeah.
We died in every war.
In higher numbers.
We vote, we pay taxes.
Yeah.
We follow the law. And it does us no good. America can be so much better when it gets rid of this racism. I'm telling you, America's more but we just can't get past it. We can't get past it, and it's embedded in the fabric of America. You know, that's part of America. People fighting to hold on to that Confederate flag.
Yeah.
You know, all them symbols of hatred and slavery.
Yeah, I was hoping we could finish on some kind of positive note, but I'm kind of where you are. I don't really know how to end this. I don't know that we can't wrap it all up and just put a bow on it, because not enough has happened yet. I mean, and it's just not okay yet.
Right.
But
the good thing is I'm not dead. The good thing is I'm not dead yet. See, that's the good thing. And see, I can educate, you know, best that I can. You know.
Yeah.
This is a teachable moment for a lot of people. You know, but see, the good thing, you know, until the laws change, you know, so they take that qualified immunity and things like that was specifically put in there. That was put in 1982 around that crack cocaine epidemic, because they knew what the police was getting ready to do in black communities, man.
Wow. Thanks for listening to our discussion of race and racism in America and why Calvin feels safer in the Philippines. I appreciate it. It's not my normal topic of discussion, but as an American, I feel some responsibility for this, and I think it needs to change. And I thought I would allow some of you to hear a voice that I respect and I think is important. You have a nice day. Take care.